For years, investigators believed these cases were beyond saving. Too old, too damaged, too forgotten. But they were wrong. In this investigation, we dive deep into the groundbreaking tools that are turning back time. This is the story of Evidence Reborn. The world of cold cases used to be a dead end. Old fingerprints, contaminated samples, witnesses who had moved, forgotten, or passed away. But in the last decade, forensic science has exploded with progress. DNA sequencing has leaped from simple matches to deep, complex reconstruction. AI can sketch a face from a whisper. Digital archaeology digs through deleted data with precision once thought impossible. And every breakthrough pushes cold case detectives closer to the truth. To understand how powerful these technologies are, we begin with the backbone of modern cold case work, DNA. But not the DNA we used to know, something far more advanced. DNA testing in the 1980s required large, clean samples. A hair follicle, a blood drop, semen. But modern tech? Today we can recover biological material from a fingerprint, a worn collar, or if something as faint as touch skin on fabric. This is touch DNA, and it changed everything. Yet even touch DNA struggled when samples were extremely degraded. That's where next-generation sequencing, or NGS, came in. NGS allows scientists to read massively fragmented DNA, pieces once considered unusable. It rebuilds the genetic puzzle even when the original sample has been destroyed by heat, water, sunlight, decades of decay, chemical contamination. What used to be unreadable is now a blueprint. Cold case units across the world have reopened boxes because NGS offers a second chance, a scientific do-over. As in the Esther Gonzalez case, solved after 45 years. Imagine a case from the mid-1970s. A victim was found in the woods. A single scrap of fabric clutched in their hand. Detectives tested it in the early 2000s. Nothing. Not enough DNA. But in 2022, NGS turned that tiny degraded sample into a full genetic profile. Within months, investigators identified a suspect who had died decades earlier. For the family, it was bittersweet. Justice finally but delayed. For science, it was proof. No case is too old when the technology becomes new enough. In 2018, the Golden State Killer case exploded on a worldwide headlines. Not because of new evidence, but because of a new strategy. Detectives used genetic genealogy. They uploaded crime scene DNA into public genealogy databases. Instead of searching for a perfect match, they looked for relatives, second cousins, third cousins, even distant branches of a family tree. Then genealogists, not detectives, built family trees upward and downward until a suspect emerged. This technique has since solved serial assault cases, long-term unidentified remains, decades-old homicides, cases with zero surviving witnesses. Traditional DNA tries to answer, whose DNA is this? Genetic genealogy asks, who could this DNA belong to? It doesn't need perfection. It uses patterns of inherited DNA to identify families, then narrows down suspects using age, location, family records, historical data, known movements, gender, crime behavior. Even if the original suspect never took a DNA test, family members might have, and that's enough. As in the case story of the highway John Doe, who got her name back. A woman's body was found off a highway in 1981. No ID, no purse, no fingerprints readable. For 40 years, she was simply Highway Jane Doe. When genetic genealogy was applied in 2021, genealogists built a sprawling family tree across 3 states. One tiny branch led to a missing woman from the late 70s. A DNA test from her surviving sister confirmed it. For the first time, her family knew where she was and what happened. Technology didn't just solve a crime. It restored a person's identity. AI can now generate realistic facial approximations from skull shape, degraded photos, aging progression, fragmented witness memory, partial CCTV frames. These reconstructions outperform human sketch artists in accuracy and recognition. Investigators now run AI-generated faces through missing persons databases, DMV records, passport records, social media, CCTV systems. AI dramatically improves identification hit rates. In AI crime scene reconstruction, artificial intelligence can rebuild entire environments, recreate the suspect's path, isolate overlooked evidence, simulate the weapon angle, analyze blood spatter physics, determine timelines, identify inconsistencies and alibis. AI doesn't tire. It doesn't get biased. It doesn't overlook. And when it makes a mistake, it corrects itself instantly. Let's see a case story of the basement camera that never worked. Detectives found old, broken CCTV footage in a 1990 case, completely grainy and seemingly useless. But AI enhancement in 2023 was able to stabilize the footage, predict missing frames, reconstruct lighting, recognize movement patterns, detect facial contours, identify a unique walk gait analysis. The suspect was still alive. He was arrested 33 years after believing he had gotten away with murder. Today's digital specialists can recover deleted texts, broken phone data, old emails, erase social media posts, geolocations, cloud backups, long-forgotten metadata, even from devices that were factory reset, physically damaged, burned, waterlogged, smashed. Every file leaves a trace, and modern recovery tools can resurrect them. Old satellite imagery is becoming a powerful tool, identifying burial disturbances, tracking abandoned vehicles, locating historical campsites, mapping suspect movements, restoring missing geographical features. Cold cases from the 1980s and 1990s are now being re-examined with satellite archives. The sky has become a retroactive witness. Let's see a case story of the car that was hidden in the lake. In 1995, a man vanished with his car. Extensive searches yielded nothing. But in 2019, improvements in satellite resolution allowed investigators to review old lake images. They found an unusual shape beneath the water surface. A dive team recovered the car and the victim inside, solving a 24-year mystery. Technology didn't just turn back time. It looked through it. Old tapes, once too damaged to use, can now be repaired using AI, removing static, reconstructing missing frequencies, isolating background speech, removing echoes, enhancing whispered conversations, identifying disguised voices, comparing dialect patterns. This has reopened cases involving anonymous calls, hostage recordings, threatening voicemails, wiretaps, undercover operations. In the area of voice matching breakthrough, AI can detect unique speech rhythms, micro-intonations, sound fingerprints, breathing patterns, glottal vibrations, even when the speaker uses a fake accent or voice alteration. In a 1988 extortion case, the victim's family received a distorted voice call. It was considered useless at the time, but in 2021, AI cleaned the recording enough to isolate vowel patterns. It was matched to a retired suspect who had thought the case was buried. One restored sentence became the key evidence that cracked the case. "3D scanning and printing are revolutionizing unidentified remains, historical cases, decomposed bodies, skeletal analysis. Forensic artists now combine CT scans, tissue depth markers, anatomical databases, AI, symmetry correction, genetic ancestry indicators. Families are being reunited with loved ones who disappeared 30, 40, even 60 years ago. Technology, in a way, lets the dead speak. New chemicals allow investigators to reveal fingerprints invisible for decades, recover prints from porous materials, lift prints from burnt items, restore prints on old paper, detect prints sealed by moisture. Nanotechnology now identifies fingerprint compounds at molecular levels. Prints once faded beyond hope can now be resurrected with astonishing clarity. Here's a case story from 1981. A threatening letter was mailed to a newspaper in 1981. No prints, no DNA. In 2020, cold case investigators used advanced amino acid detection to reveal a partial fingerprint that had faded long ago. It matched a local man who had been a suspect at the time, but was dismissed for lack of evidence. Time had erased the print. Science brought it back. Modern blood pattern analysis uses fluid dynamics, trajectory simulation, 3D modeling, stain chemical mapping, velocity analysis, ultraviolet reconstruction. These tools allow detectives to reconstruct the position of the victim, the movement of the attacker, the direction of each strike, the type of weapon, the timeline of events. Cases once ruled as accidental have been reclassified as homicide. Others once labeled homicide have been overturned. Science isn't emotional. It just tells the truth. Insects can now help determine exact time of death, the season of burial, climate history, whether a body was moved, and how long remains were exposed. Microbial signatures, microbial fingerprints, are the new frontier. Every environment leaves a unique bacterial imprint. These imprints stay on bodies, clothes, and soil for decades. Even if the body is gone, the bacteria remain. In a 1994 case, only soil samples remained. Modern microbial testing indicated that the victim's body had been moved twice. This contradicted the suspect's original alibi, ultimately leading to a confession. Nature, quietly, had recorded the truth. LIDAR, a laser-based imaging system, can scan forests, pierce vegetation, read ground depressions, uncover old grave sites, detect disturbed soil, and identify hidden paths. This technology has solved both criminal cases and archaeological mysteries. A vanished teenager from the 1990s was believed to have run away. A 2020 LIDAR scan of the forest revealed an unnatural depression under thick brush. Detectives discovered remains, proving the teen had been murdered and buried, not missing by choice. With powerful tools come powerful debates. How far should genealogy data be used? Should AI be allowed to identify suspects? Does resurrecting old evidence violate privacy? Are there risks of misidentification? How do we balance justice with ethics? Cold case innovations are miracles, but miracles need boundaries. Still, for grieving families waiting 20, 30, 40 years, the choice is clear. If technology can bring truth, let truth come. We once believed time erased all clues, that old cases grew colder, quieter, unreachable. But modern science has proven something profound. Time doesn't destroy evidence. It only hides it, waiting for technology to catch up. Today, detectives are armed with tools that read the invisible, decode the forgotten, and revive the erased. And because of these innovations, cold cases everywhere are thawing. Victims are getting justice. Families are getting closure. History is being rewritten one case at a time. This is the new era of forensic investigation. This is how we turn back time.